to Adventure Dolphin DofE. I'm with Dom again.
I like it. He's straight in there taking it over.
Yeah.
I like it. I'll go and see you later.
Nothing happened, so we thought we'd take it over. So this week we're going to be talking a bit about campcraft, what to do when you get to campsite, how to act and try and keep all of this stuff a bit drier if it's raining, and a bit about what we'd do if we were to go on our DofEs now and we wanted to be at the campsite. So I'll start us off on that point. If you get to the camp, you've been walking all day, it's been pouring it down, everything's soaking. What would you do first, Dom, when you get there to try and keep yourself dry, try and keep your kit dry? Because the worst thing that you can have is a wet sleeping bag at night and a bit of a horrible night.
Yeah, no, so straight from your point about wet equipment and sleeping bags especially, is preparation actually. Before you even get out there, it's putting things into dry bags if you can. So my sleeping bag is in a dry bag because I don't want that wet because it's just an uncomfortable night. My spare clothes are in a dry bag. Quite often my food end up in a dry bag. I separate everything out so it's all grab and go. There's certain things that you don't need in a dry bag, like at the end of the day, especially if you've got a polystyrene roll mat. They're quite easy to do out, or a ground sheet because the ground sheet's going underneath the tent. So there's bits and bobs like that. So being prepared is your main thing. If you don't, because of course, you know, what is it? It's about 24 quid, I think was the latest I checked in Go Outdoors for a set of 3 little dry bags.
Yeah, I tend to try and get them on sale, so I'm always looking out for like Sports Direct and that. I've picked up a few for £2, £3 each, but they can go up to a lot of money.
Depending
like
what you're after.
I've paid as much as £12 for a dry bag.
Yeah.
So
even if you've got a dry bag because you're on the water and you're canoeing. Another thing is put the little dry bags inside that dry bag just in case if you do puncture it on doing a portage or something. It makes sense. So that's one thing. And then if your budget can't stretch to that, that's no problem. Using something like a black bin bag and just tying it up gives you a little bit more protection. It's adding that protection up to then become secure. I know on my bronze it was tipping it down. We were lucky enough to get some help from a set of leaders, yourself included, that had already put up an event shelter, so we did have that sort of luxury of putting our stuff under the event shelter whilst we put our tents up. Which was quite good. If you can put it under even a tree or something, give it some tipping it down. So things like that. But definitely try and have your tent somewhere where you can access it easily. Because the last thing you want to be doing is taking out your sleeping bag and your roll mat and your stuff just to get to your tent, which is the stuff that you really want to be keeping in your bag. Because your bag is quite waterproof. When you've got one of those things over it and you can put it the right way up, if it's raining and you've taken it off your bag, then you should be okay for that. Relatively alright,
But just trying to keep stuff inside a bag or inside a dry bag when you're taking stuff out.
That does make me laugh actually, because you see it, especially more at bronze level, how the moment they get to campsite, the first thing they want is their flip-flops, which is fair enough. You've done a nice long day walk, you want to let your feet relax a little bit. So the thing is, the flip-flops are right at the bottom. Always the case, they're right at the bottom. So everything comes out and it's everywhere.
I think when I was doing my silver, there was a phrase coined by Bob that was bagsplosion. So that's one of the things that I've always tried, since then I've tried to avoid doing, just because it's always good to get on the good side of your assessors where you have a decent bag always packed, so when you need your tent comes out your bag and nothing else. Or as you're saying about dry bags, I've always looked out for deals on them and things like that. So with that, I've got quite a few. So I'd have my food stuffs in one dry bag, and everything was sort of, if I needed something, I could get to something that was in that category and it would be in a bag. So all of my food, my sleeping equipment, all in a bag, tent in a bag. And I actually separated my tent inner and outer because, for one, tents can end up being quite long. They can be. So they can be quite difficult to fit in the bag, and mine was one of them. So it was quite a long tent. So I split the outer and inner. One went, and because you just stuff them in as well. You don't have to try and roll them up and that sort of thing, because every time you roll it, if you roll it the same way, you can end up having creases in the same position. So actually, just stuff bags work quite well for tents because you don't get the same problem lines in. So just stuff the inner, stuff the outer into different bags. It means you could take the outer off first if it was wet and it was dry there, or you could take the inner out and then put that away while still having that rain protection.
Yep.
All until you just duff the outer and the poles down into the bag, poles down the back, sorted.
Awesome.
So yeah, I can definitely say if you want to buy something for cheap, if you look out for when dry bags go on sale, just like your 10 litre, your 1 litre ones, like they're really useful.
I completely agree with you. By the way, guys, we are noticing in the chat. Just want to say a shout out to James and Kevin. How guys? It's great to have you guys with us. James, you're back. I think you weren't here last week. Hope you're all well, keeping well, and staying safe, all of you out there.
Yeah.
So, of course, when you get to the campsite, you know the first thing you want to do is put up your tent.
Yeah.
Primarily, you want to get your camp ready. Also, if you're the first group in, you get to pick your spot.
Yeah.
Where you might get told by your leaders you got to go over there, but you pick where you put your tent really. So you can get the better spots when you get on.
Yeah.
Because there's always that one group, and it's usually lads. They'll come in and they'll want to do something like football or throw a frisbee for 10 hours.
I wouldn't say that spots whilst camping are necessarily that important. Others might disagree, but I've definitely had some spots where I thought, oh, that wasn't great. So if there is a river or something like that, I would advise trying to...
Don't just camp in the river.
Don't go in it for one, but try and stay away from the river, because I did have quite an uncomfortable night where you could just hear the river all the night, and it's not the best night's sleep. So
you're on the floodplain, so if you get a nice bit of water...
Yeah, so you want to try and keep away from that sort of thing, and depending on different things, if it's really windy, you might want to stay near, if there's an embankment or something like that, or a sturdy tree that won't come down, something like that. But then if there's not so sturdy trees,
you've also got to be wary of trees because of branches.
Yeah.
So when it's a stormy day, I personally don't like going near a tree if I can help it, because if the lightning's striking, it's going above your head, and then you've got to play Russian roulette with the branches. So it's all about weighing your options.
Yeah.
But definitely, if you can get out, especially where you said about embankments, or if there is a line of trees, use that to your advantage.
Yeah, as well as with tent positioning, if you want to consider where you're going to be cooking, it can be quite good to try and have like a ring of tents.
Let's try and see if you get this one right. Here you go, see how good you are. Distance from tent to Trangia.
2 metres?
Minimum 2 metres. I would personally go 5.
Yeah,
is the adjustment, but basically it's got to be.
Break them,
it's definitely got to be far enough that you won't catch the tent alight.
We would do 2 metres at minimum.
So that goes, of course, depending of the scenarios of when we can get back out there.
It's also
with social distancing, we might have to review, because the ring of tents might not be the most sensible idea. It might have to be lines.
Yeah.
So,
we could do a ring of tents facing outwards.
Facing outwards, there's no way. I like it.
But yeah, so ring of tents is often quite good for cooking.
But I've found the opposite thing with ring of tents is when you get up in the middle of the night, you're tripping over guy lines. Because so it comes out to that thing. It's sometimes it's okay because it's quite nice if it's raining. You can look at each other, but realistically, in the middle of the night when you're half asleep, you're going to find that guy line. Yeah, it's weighing up.
Yeah, it's all personal preference really, but I liked having that ring of tents because you could then have Trangia in the middle, you could all come out, cook your food, you could sit in your porchways or whatever, chat to each other if it was raining, so you wouldn't have to be all just sit in your tent or just bear with the rain. So I quite like that setup. It also can shelter you a bit from the wind when you're sitting out cooking.
Another trick that I'm not going to is look at what the leaders are doing. Mm-hmm. Where the leaders put their tent, how they set their tents up, because especially more if you're out like doing a wild camp, for example, the leaders have been probably there before several times. They know the rough idea where the spots are. So if they've put their tent up on a brow of a hill, there's a reason for it. Yeah. So you figure out why your leaders are setting up tents. Sometimes it's like bronze, it's just because it's logistical wise. Yeah. But especially when it goes down to gold, use what's around you. If you're on the campsite, especially wild camping, and there are other people wild camping, what are they doing? Look at them, and that will definitely help you.
Yeah, it's always a good idea.
So your tent positioning is pretty decent to know. The biggest thing I get is when groups come in, they come in, especially more bronze than anyone else. They come in at about 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then after 3 o'clock, they get there and then they put their tents up, if you're lucky. So your tents are up usually by about 5.
Yeah.
And then they might do some cooking, they might not. But after the cooking, they're all sat there doing nothing.
Yeah.
They're all bored, moaning.
Yeah, it is always a good idea to bring some stuff to do. So we had some groups bring a football, which some people, when they get back to camp, they don't really want to be kicking a ball about. So it's up to you, really. It depends what sort of group you are.
The problem is with bringing a football, same with campsite, is A, your space, how much that ball takes up, but B, you might not actually be allowed to play it because the campsite might be packed and it's just going to be an obstruction. So going for something like, personally, I was more of a frisbee guy because a frisbee can get in your bag a lot easier. Yeah,
and you can, if you keep your frisbee clean, you don't have to take a plate. Like you can call me whatever you like, gross or whatever. Like if I took a frisbee, I'd be inclined to use it as my plate as well. Give it a wash.
I like your thinking because that's what we wanted to go on to next, was about washing up, because it's a pain in everyone's backsides. It's a thing that needs to be done, but people always seem to struggle with it.
Yeah, and there's always that one person in the group that's like, come on, let's go and do the washing up, and everyone else just moans at them. So with washing up, what my recommendation would be to do with the Trangiers is, as soon as you can, get them in hot water. Hot soapy water as soon as you can after you finish cooking, because they're quite a violent way of cooking. They heat up very quickly, so it's very easy to burn stuff on. As I experienced a few weeks ago, I'll put my hands up. But yeah, you want to get hot soapy water in there as quickly as possible, and then you can sort of leave it for an hour, but try not to put it off too long, because you don't want to end up like washing up when everyone else is doing stuff and groups are doing stuff. But yeah, that would be my tip.
Ask questions about your campsite is a good trick. So some places they have washing up facilities that there's a hot and a cold tap. Yeah. Some places you don't get that luxury. You've only got standpipe, and that's where you need to ask your leaders. They're not going to turn around to you and say, no, we're not going to tell you that. Yeah. But always think of the worst case scenario. One of the people I wouldn't ask is Giles, because Giles would just not tell you for a banter. But yeah, and I have been known to go on campsites that have got boiling water taps as well. That's always a good one. Some assessors don't like you using them, but just don't tell them that you've used them. If they say don't use them, because if you get caught, you are in trouble. Don't tell them that you're using them. Correct. Just say it's just hot water from the tap. Because I've had that before, where people have tried that and they get caught, because guess where I am? Got to be sly. That's all. Dom will tell you one thing. I'll tell you different. I will tell you how to get around it, because 9 out of 10 times I'm the one who catches you. Yeah. So that's the trick. Yeah, just if you do use things and the assessor's told you not to, don't get caught by the assessor. The assessor says no and the supervisor says no, just don't do it. It's just easier. But if the assessor says no and we go, supervisor goes, I can't see it being an issue. I can't see it being an issue. Just do it quickly. Yeah, don't start bragging about it. Yeah. Yeah, because I know we went on and our assessor was fine with it, but some people can be a bit. It's up to the assessor, but don't take one thing as a don't do it. Absolutely not. Just come and ask us, and we'll talk to them if they're being a bit grumpy. Don't know any grumpy assessors. By the way, guys, if you have any ideas of tips or tricks of what you think is decent on a campsite, Kevin, you should know loads. You've been out and about for a few years with the DofE. Had to watch what you say then. But yeah. So also, if there's any participants, just swing a comment if you've got any questions in particular about what you want to quiz us about. We'd get into campsite, just
see what the campsite's got first as well. It's all when you arrive, because some places they've got like really nice showers, and it can be nice just to have a shower.
If you're allowed a shower.
Yeah.
Some places don't allow showers. So some places you do not want to get in the showers either.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. You go and check out. I went to one of the campsites on my gold assessed was really nice. So you went into the showers. It had a big changing room that was nice and warm, and it had showers and washing up facilities. It was really nice.
Mm.
So went in there, got a shower, got dry inside the changing rooms, got all warm. Had my tent already pitched at that point because it had been a bit wet during the day and then was just windy, so a little bit damp, and then wind was coming through. So with that side of things, it was quite good because you went in, you saw, oh brilliant, this is a nice warm changing room style place in the showers. So went and used that. Had a bit of relax because you've been carrying a big heavy bag for a while, and you get to escape your group a bit if because you're spending a lot of time with a group, so don't feel the need to, when you get to camp, spend all your time with them again. Sometimes you do need that little bit of personal time. If you've got a tent or something, you might want to just sit in your tent if you're with someone that you're sharing a tent with, or if you've got your own tent, just sit in your own tent for a bit, because it can be a bit of a long time,
especially if you got like the gold, especially at gold level.
You got 4 days of 8 hours plus, because you walk for as long as it takes you, and then you
don't be at the same time, don't be antisocial, go and enjoy it as such, but
don't need to hide away. But if you are feeling a bit like, oh, I need a bit of time, just let your group know and go and sit in your tent or go somewhere else. It's not one of these things where if you've to prove that you're working as a group, you have to be as a group all the time. You can spend a little bit of time. And if someone else is cooking, you don't need all. If you've got 5 in a group, you don't need all 5 cooking at the same time, because you can get in the way. So a group could cook, another could wash up, and that's equally as good teamwork, because it shows you're playing to each other's strengths rather than trying to force everyone to do everything.
Yeah, I'm just reading these comments quickly. Kevin's gone for them.
What's he got?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with them. Those comments. So Kevin likes double bagging his sleeping bag. One bag's not enough. He needs to fit another one on.
Yeah, that
especially if it's down. If it's a
things.
Down sleeping bag, you do not want to get that wet. Synthetic, I've done wet. You can cope with it, but down, the moment that gets drenched, game over.
The other thing with down is, as soon as you get to the campsite, you've got your tent up, get it out of the bag, and other sleeping bags as well, because they actually, when you compress them and push them out and push them into a bag, they can get sort of dense, and they lose a bit of their thermally insulative properties. So it can be quite a good idea just to lay them out, let them breathe a bit, let them fluff back out, especially with down, I found. But yeah, it just helps just to have that, as well as with the self-inflating mats. The same goes. You can sort of undo the valves and just leave it, and then when you go to sleep, you just do up the valves if it's got, and then you can add a bit of air if you like it a bit firmer. So just blow into it a bit. So
that's why they're self-inflating. That's the name on the tin. Yeah,
they self-inflate, but sometimes you just want it a bit firmer and just give it that little bit extra, and then quickly do up the valve.
Yep. Yeah. Another one Kevin's put out, which is pretty decent, is also try your gear before you go out. So that is check. Kevin's talked about tents in this scenario. Make sure all your parts are there and not broken. But that goes with everything. So there's nothing better than getting there and then realising your sleeping bag is not a sleeping bag. It's now a jacket that someone stuffed in a sleeping bag.
Yeah, and you can also come without poles or pegs.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. My brother stole my pegs once. My nice light alloys, took my tent away, and then gave my tent back without my pegs. It was great.
Yeah, I've on my gold practice, which was shocking, someone didn't check the tent and didn't arrive with no pegs.
No, they did check the tent, so I saw them check the tent. They took the tent home and left the pegs at home.
Okay, so one of my so they left the pegs, and it was a bit dodgy because I used the bare minimum needed for my tent, and then they used about 7 of my pegs to put theirs like very bare minimum, and then you got some sticks or something. And by the end, because it was the practice on the last day, one of the leaders just went, oops, did someone drop some pegs, and just sort of dropped his on the floor because he was sleeping in the van. So just don't forget your pegs.
Yeah,
that's one thing you don't want to do. And going back to the sleeping mat, if you do sleep cold, a lot of the time it's not actually your sleeping bag that's the problem. So with the double bagging, a lot of your heat is lost through the floor. So with the roll mat, they do a bit of thermal insulation, but you can get like the survival bags and put one of them underneath your mat to help insulate your body from the floor if you find yourself sleeping cold or your sleeping bag feels like it's colder. One of the ways that you can try and alleviate that happening is just by having survival bag, survival blanket, or a blanket or some clothes underneath the roll mat, just to try and keep that heat from escaping into the ground.
And another one which is a good one is the rating on the tents. I know we joke about it saying that they are tight fit, but they're tight fit for a reason. So a 250 is a 2-man tent. It is designed for 2 men. So we stock 350s, I think, which I would personally say 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
But you don't have a 4-man tent and put 2 guys in it on an expedition.
On my gold, I was in a largish 2-man tent by myself, and it ended up quite windy, so I was quite chilly on the third night. But yeah, I've also done the opposite and done a Vango Banshee 300, which is very small 3-man tent with 3 big guys in it, and it was a warm night, so I was just so hot, it was ridiculous.
I've got the original Banshee 250, and we had gear for a week and 2 guys, and that was the day where they only had one door on the side, so you have to do a kind of roll and a jump. It was great fun.
Yeah, no, at least mine did have two doors. But you've got to look at what it's going to be like. If you're going for a colder expedition, you might want to cram more people into a tent. As bad as it might sound, because in this Banshee we were literally, the mats wouldn't fit. So
pretty much
your mats were like, you had a third of a mat, not a whole mat to yourself. So you had that, and it was just so hot because it was like a spring or fall expedition, so it was really hot. And then I went on an October expedition for my gold, and it was freezing because I was only 1 man in a tent. So you've got to look at what time you're going, what the weather's going to be like, and adjust what you're going to do tent-wise for that, if you can.
Yeah, that's good. Another thing that always comes out is rubbish. And this comes out nearly every year, and we have to keep mentioning it to every group, and sometimes we even have to mention it to a leader, because sometimes the leaders do this as well. You are responsible under the regulations for everything you take in. A rule of thumb is everything you take in, you must be prepared to take out with you. Because some campsites, especially more when you're at Gold and you're doing your wild camps, you cannot leave rubbish on the side of the path. You've got to take it with you. So it always go with a couple of little bags, I say. And then if your rubbish is fitting in those little bags, and then you find out that campsite has a bin, then utilise it, of course. But don't go and then leave, The other one is, what I don't understand it is, someone brings a bin bag. And somehow they fill the bin bag full of rubbish, and they let their mates fill the bin bag full of the rubbish. And then they're stood there with a massive bin bag, and you're there going, well, there's no bins here. And then they tie it to the back of their bag.
But with that, you make a fair point about that. So you want to keep your rubbish in a small space because you might have to carry it. So, like your point there is, don't bring a massive bin bag because you will create the rubbish for it, and people will put rubbish in it. Like other groups will put their rubbish in it because you bought it. So try to discourage that, as well as the fact that you often get, one of the main things that I found on my expeditions were people leaving bits of food. So if you've done pasta or fusilli, that sort of pasta, there will always be the person that goes, "Oh, I can't eat this," and will just dob some on the floor. Or you'll be cleaning up and you'll just dob the remnants of the pasta on the floor. So with that, you want to make sure that you're only bringing the amount of food for what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, pasta, you often work on what the packet says, which I think is about 60 grams per person. You might want a bit more because you've been walking all day, or it depends what your appetite's like. So get to know your group, see what they eat, what sort of thing they will eat. Because you don't want to end up lugging about wet, slimy pasta in your bag for ages.
Yeah, you don't want you can't dob it on the floor.
Yeah,
because that's classed as littering.
Yeah.
Not only in the middle of the night, what you're potentially doing is inviting foxes and all that to come into your camp. What you are then littering, which then pretty much the assessor or the supervisor can end your expedition just for that.
Yeah.
So you need to be on top of that because it is respecting the countryside, and
your assessor will go around and check after you've left.
Your leaders will check as well.
Yeah.
And it has happened where we have had to defer groups for that because a grain of rice is one thing.
Yeah.
However, half a bowl of rice.
We understand that sometimes you might miss something.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that you're going to drop a piece of pasta and you're done. It's not like that. It's just
I know some assessors that have tried that before.
Keep yourself as tight as you can, because you don't want to give assessors reason. Like, they're not going out to fail you, but there's some people that might be having a bad week or something like that, and you don't want to give people reasons to fail you.
Or your friend in the groups mouthing off a little bit and the assessor's gone right.
Yeah.
That has happened.
Talking about that, when you get to campsite, with things like phones and that sort of thing, what would you say about them? Because I know on my silver there was a bit of controversy about people on their phones at campsites.
So activity team or Adventure Dolphin have always been no phones, because the point of the DofE, especially the expedition, is you're with a group, you're self-sufficient, you're this and that. Having a phone, it depends what centre you're at, and check your centres, because one of the conditions is you must follow the mobile phone policy, but you're not there to be texting on the phone, because you then don't join. This is where we've literally got someone texting away just behind the computer, being antisocial. I wish we could flip the camera quickly just to show you. But there's always one. But it's a good to get a break. I know one of the other centres that I volunteer at, we have a young leader. She's 17 now. I'm looking at one of my other supervisors. 16, 17. 15.
You can speak.
Yeah.
This is more fun.
GT. I've said 17. 18? No, she's not 18. She's not 18.
Okay.
17. I know she's not 18.
I'll pull us back to the actual thing.
Because
Yeah.
Because even as a leader, we have to move them from the phone a little bit.
Yeah.
And they actually you get more enjoyment out of it. So that's the downside with it. I know in one of my trips while I was with another centre, we didn't have phone. We weren't allowed to use our phone. However, that's on camp, you could play a little bit of music if it was quiet.
Yeah.
But definitely ask the question. It might be changed. Different centres, different leaders, assessors.
Yeah.
But don't get upset if on your practice it's a yes and on your assessment it is a no.
Yeah.
Things do happen.
Yeah, because with what you've just said, we as leaders, know the assessors, or mostly will know the assessors, because someone will have found them to do the assessment. So we will know what they feel about phones.
Yeah.
Them. So can often say, well, yes, you can with this one, or no, you can't. But
I believe we're at the position where we're saying no phones.
Yeah.
Because it's that thing. So you'll be given an emergency phone which you can dial.
Yeah.
Set numbers. I think my number's set into that.
With what I'd say is, from my experience of doing the DofE from that is, if you are allowed to bring phones, say you're using it to video or whatever, be respectful for the first thing.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
don't go taking photos of other people in the campsite, or blaring music in the campsite, or that sort of stuff, or texting your mate late into the night in the other tent, or that sort of thing.
Definitely, especially if you've got one of those things where you're not even allowed your phone. Don't go, and you've got your phone on you. Don't start texting.
Yeah.
We had a good scenario where on one of our camps, a participant decided to be texting their mother, and on this camp we decided as leaders we decided to get a bit of takeaway for the leaders. Yeah. So one of our leaders was in the restaurant picking up the takeaway with the mother there, who then went, "Oh, my daughter's texted me," and we were there going, "Oh."
Yeah.
So even though you can, I've also had it where it's been a no mobile phone policy, and this person nearly got away with it until it was literally the last minute on their assessment. Yeah. And I was the assessor, and I was about to say, "Congratulations, you've passed." Yeah. And you can hear the phone vibrating. Yeah. So although you think you're being sneaky, about 8 out of 10 times you get caught anyway. Yeah. So if there's a rule in place, just listen to it. It's just, you make your life so much easier.
Yeah, and at the moment, I would say you'd probably be allowed your phone because of the project side of things and the lack of cameras that people have. Because I know for mine, I've used my phone for it, and I've agreed that with the assessor before.
So at the moment, the phones aren't allowed at all.
Yeah, but if you agree with an assessor that you can use it,
the agreement will be, at the moment, it cannot have a SIM card in it. Yeah. If you're going to use it as a camera. Yeah. When you go to gold, what not quite often will happen is we will take your phone and we can bag it. Mm-hmm. Another reason why we try not to promote taking the phones is we're not insured for your devices. Yeah. So we're insured to take you as a participant, for example. We don't have your phone. We don't insure your phones. Yeah. If you break it, or someone steals it, it's tough, ashamedly.
But yeah, as with if they are allowed, just don't use them all the time. Yeah. Because if you're just walking along on your phone...
If you're in a centre that allows it,
yeah. And when you get to camp, keep it away. And when you get into your tent...
You're there to enjoy the experience.
Yeah. If you want to be in your tent and watch something that you've got downloaded because that's what you like doing, then feel free. Just don't disturb the person that's next to you. Mm-hmm.
Also, the other thing is we get this all the time with centres that have allowed kids to have the phones. The batteries die. Yeah. Yeah. And that's your emergency phone.
Yeah. And you've got to consider that, like, if you're going to use it for video, if you've been agreed to do that, then you will want to bring a portable charger and that sort of thing to make sure that you can use it. Because there would be nothing worse to get to your second day and you're taking a bit of footage and then realise, well, my phone's dead and you can't take any more. Because then your project's done and you can't...
Game over because your assessment, because you've got to redo the whole thing.
Yeah. So... Yeah, with mobile phones, it's always good to have a chat with the assessor or your leaders to make sure that...
Yeah, always ask your centre what their policy. I know Adventure Dolphin, it's a no phone policy. Yeah. At the present time. So.
Yeah, but it changes all the time, and it changes depending on circumstances. If you can't get something to do your project or that sort of thing, then a phone will be...
Sometimes it's debatable, but I would... Anyway. Cool. So I reckon that's pretty much it for this week. I think we're back next week. We might have to get Jake back on. I reckon Jake's had 2 weeks off. We might go all out and let Jake and Giles run a show for a week, which could be hilarious because they don't like talking. So I don't know who's going to run that one. Yeah. That's it. It's sorted. Jake is going to lead it and ask questions, and Giles will be there answering it and assisting. So We look forward to next week's Jake and Giles show. I'm going to change the pictures of the splashbacks and everything ready for Jake. It'll be a special. It's our special. It's the Jake and Giles special.
Yeah.
He thinks I'm joking. You wait. It'll be down to the media afterwards. Okay, guys.
Okay.
Take care. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.